What it do? Know what I'm saying? It's your boy Eddy Wolf. I'm in this motherfucker. Holding it down for Memphis 10, nigga.
She need Chris Travis in this bitch.
Raised in Memphis, Tennessee, Chris Travis is considered a pioneer of the underground rap scene. He began his music career in 2011 as a solo artist, and in 2013, he joined Raider Clan, a collective created by Space Ghost Perp which included future collaborators Xavier Wulf and Eddy Baker. After spending only a year with Raider Clan, Chris Travis would create waterboyz Entertainment, a music collective consisting of himself, Black Smurf, and, at one point in time, Dylan Ross. In 2014, Chris teamed up with Bones from Team Sesh, Xavier Wulf from hollowsquad, and Eddy Baker from Healthy Boys to form the SHWB collective. However, Chris Travis's eventual fallout was influenced by personal and professional factors, leading to multiple altercations and internet disputes with his former friends and collaborators. This is the story of the fall of SHWB. In its early days, SHWB quickly gained traction for its unique and dark sound. By the time of its formation, each member had a cult fanbase that helped SHWB build a large community. People were beginning to notice the impact the group was making within underground rap, and many claimed that SHWB were redefining the rap industry. Each member still released their music independently, which will be a significant factor to consider later on. Chris Travis, known for his SoundCloud hits such as Crunch Time and Diamonds, played a large role in the group's early success as he was one of SoundCloud's most notable rappers of the early to mid-2010s. Along with his solo career, he would also be a part of popular group collaborations, including the track We Don't Believe You, featuring the trio of Bones, Chris, and Xavier. Tensions would eventually begin to surface over time. Internal conflicts within SHWB were not uncommon, and other members slowly started to notice the distance Chris had put between himself and the rest of the group. By the mid-2010s, Xavier Wulf and Bones were now two of underground rap's biggest names. For Chris Travis, his music was still growing, yet it would quickly become apparent he felt overshadowed by his peers' success. Chris Travis and the other members of SHWB had different visions for their careers. While Bones and Xavier Wulf had become the faces of SHWB, Chris Travis began to feel like he was in the background. He felt constrained by his role in the collective, which led to friction once Chris began to express his feelings publicly. Chris Travis's desire to pursue solo projects was another critical factor. By 2017, it became clear that Chris was distancing himself from SHWB. The departure was not abrupt, but rather a process that unfolded over time. The problem, though, is that despite an obvious amount of space being built between the group, Chris never directly told either Bones, Xavier, or Eddy Baker of his growing feelings. In fact, without any internal communication, he would announce his departure from SHWB through a Twitter post. While Chris was trying hard to separate himself from his counterparts, he would also be creating high levels of tension in the process. The rest of SHWB were rightfully stunned by Chris's exit. Xavier Wulf took exception to not only this, but also how Chris had handled the aftermath. This series of events started a huge dispute between Chris, Xavier, and many other affiliates of the two. It all started when Xavier Wulf would sneak a diss at Chris Travis in his 2018 track, The Real Folk Blues. At the very end of the verse, he quotes, "Ungrateful little, expletive, you will never get a spot, so keep slick dissing only friends that you got." By this point, frustration had brewed, and Xavier believed that the way Chris had treated him and the other members of SHWB was unfair. In retaliation, Chris would respond with his own diss track titled Understood. This series of songs would ignite the fire for a prolonged beef that stretched multiple years. Between 2018 and 2022, a series of posts were made by either Chris or Xavier calling each other out or talking shit online. For example, Chris would throw shade at Bones by calling him trash. Xavier would make a post simply stating SHWB Healthy Boys, a reference to removing Chris Travis's brand from the group. There was also beef between Chris and I Don't Know Jeffrey, who was a longtime collaborator of Xavier. Jeffrey's role in the drama was mainly to stick up for his friend, and he too dropped a diss track on Chris Travis. There were countless shots taken to each artist online, and while most of them have been deleted by now, some archives remain, including a call out from No Jumper's Adam22 referring to Xavier Wulf as a Molly head. In fact, in 2022, Chris Travis went on the No Jumper podcast to discuss his career as well as the ongoing beef between him and Xavier Wulf. Chris Travis made numerous efforts to stir the pot, even claiming that he showed up at Xavier Wulf's house. This interview also came just weeks after Xavier claimed that Chris had made fun of his little brother, who had just survived a gunshot wound. Xavier commented on the video of the interview stating, "Me and Chris was all good till 2 weeks ago where he made a joke about my brother unfortunately getting shot. Chris got no common sense. You could have joked about anything else but that." Chris eventually responded and claimed those allegations were false, and after multiple interactions, Chris apologized and the two made up. This is where the drama seemed to have ended, at least in the public eye. Yet, none of this was ever officially resolved, and it is unclear what terms Chris Travis and the rest of SHWB are on today. Now that we know some of the reasons for SHWB's fallout, let's briefly examine how it has impacted Chris Travis's career and the SHWB's legacy. Chris Travis has taken full advantage of his independent status, releasing hundreds of songs and multiple full-length albums since his departure from SHWB. In terms of internet relevance, Chris has seen a significant decline in overall streams and sales. Looking at data from Google Trends, it is clear that since his peak in 2016, his online search interest aligns with his falling out with SHWB. Since cutting ties and going solo, Chris Travis has yet to see the desired success that his former collaborators have. While as of September 2024, he holds over 1.5 monthly Spotify listeners, both Xavier Wulf and Bones have over 5 and 6 million listeners respectively. Most importantly, while Chris Travis has had a successful music career, it's hard to say that he has separated himself from the SHWB community, one of his main reasons for leaving in the first place. As for the collective, it's hard to say SHWB survived the fallout. The group was built around the 4 foundational members, so while teamsesh and hollowsquad are still thriving to this day, the alias SHWB appears to be left in the past. As for Bones, Xavier, and Eddy Baker's careers, they are taking full advantage of new opportunities to grow their platform. Of course, in early 2024, Xavier Wulf was accused of domestic violence and animal abuse for incidents that occurred in the late 2010s, but the allegations haven't seemed to impact Xavier's career as much as they probably could have. After initially being removed from the lineup, Xavier recently went on Limp Bizkit's Loserville tour with Bones and Eddy, performing in front of thousands of fans across the United States. They all still release music to this day, and it seems as if they are living out their successful music careers. Chris Travis's fallout with SHWB was compounded by multiple factors such as career disparity and poor communication. It would mark a significant shift in not only his career, but the dynamics of SHWB and the underground scene. Today, after all the years of drama, there does seem to be a silver lining to their fallout. Chris Travis is currently following Bones, Xavier, and Eddy again on social media. This has led many fans to question whether the beef has been squashed, yet no official statement has been made. The story of Chris Travis and SHWB highlights the complexities of collaborative creativity and the personal factors that can influence relationships. Who do you think was in the wrong here? Do you hope that one day the group can put the past behind them and reignite the flame? Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and I'll see you in the next video.